It's Keepin It PC, Season 3, Episode 4. Pat, Cole, LT, and Lucas Drake. How you guys doing? Have we watched any of the March Madness so far?
Plenty.
Oh, yeah. It's been madness. What else can you say? It's been absolute madness.
Well, okay, so what are the big storylines so far? Obviously, you had the Jack Hulk guy, Colky dude, who was hitting threes, and he looks like he's 40.
Kentucky, baby.
That was a great game, and I kind of wish they were in the Sweet 16 because I think it's kind of lacking like any like big storyline besides the fact that UConn's huge.
I'm glad you said that. My hot take: Cinderella's overrated. They're overrated. They never win. They just get to the Sweet 16 and lose, and everyone's like, "Oh, this 16 seed made it to the Sweet 16." Yeah, and guess what? They're gonna get their breaks beaten off by UConn. That's what's gonna happen, or Zach Edey. So I'm kind of glad we're seeing some more good teams come through. Although I was very upset at the end of that Kansas and Samford game when they missed that call, the most obvious block, no foul, and they called a foul and handed Kansas.
That was
the game.
ridiculous.
Handed Kansas the game.
Yeah.
Bill Self got saved by the refs. As always.
Possibly one of the cleanest chase down blocks you'll ever see in your life, and they called it a foul. Didn't even touch his body like at all.
It really upset me.
Officiating, obviously, always a negative for basketball, but a positive for me every March Madness is seeing these accountants, like we said, looking like they're already middle-aged. They already look like accountants. They're going out there making every three-pointer they take. Obviously, they're not going out there and dunking. Whenever you see these superheroes in March, it's these accountant-looking guys who are just pulling it from three. And I mean, I absolutely love it. I have to say that's probably my favorite part because the teams that you root for are always the favorites. I feel like they never even win the actual championship. It's always like a team that you never expect. I did say Purdue when they're still in it, so we'll see how that goes. But for me, I always just have the most fun out of seeing these random guys just mess around going for 40 against amazing teams.
I mean, I disagree about the Cinderellas. That sure one hasn't won yet in our like lifetime that has been has won the entire thing that has been like, say, like an 11 or like a 12 seed or 13 seed. But I mean, Loyola Chicago just like a couple of years ago went to the Final Four and they were like an 11 seed or whatever. Like I want to see an unforeseen run to like a Final Four and Elite Eight where they're beating good teams. Cause I think it's if Oakland kept winning, I think that's a story that you want to follow. You're going to watch all the Oakland games. I'm not going to watch it's like Kansas Gonzaga was a good game in the first half, at least until Gonzaga fucking like doubled their score in the second half. But like, that's an interesting game, but it doesn't like draw me in I was locked into Oakland NC State because Oakland took them to overtime. And they could have, gotten into the Sweet 16. Like, I think Cinderellas have more of a draw, at least for casual fans like myself who don't watch college basketball all season until the tournament. It has more of a draw to watch the games, in my opinion.
Don't get me wrong, I do love the upsets early in the tournament, and I'm not mad. I'm never mad if like a 15 seed is going to make the Final Four or something like that. I'm not going to complain. I'm just saying most of the time it's like they get to the Sweet 16, get blown out, and then that's it. So I enjoy the upsets early on. Like the Oakland Kentucky upset put a huge smile on my face, and I picked Kentucky in my Elite Eight.
Who picked Duquesne?
I chickened out.
I picked Duquesne.
Real ones pick Duquesne.
I chickened out. And I have a rule too. My two rules are always take the 9 seed, or 3 rules, excuse me. Always take the 9 seed, always take the 11 seed, and never pick Kansas.
What do you mean?
Always take the 9 seed?
Always take the 9 seed, always take the 11 seed, and never pick Kansas.
I think the 11 seed play. I feel like 11-6 always is like the most common upset. I don't know what the statistics are, but I feel like that's always because that's the way you're getting like 7-10 is that really an upset? 8-9, that's not an upset.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Like it's the same team pretty much.
But that's why you pick those.
Yeah.
I fell for the BYU. I'm always falling for this BYU bullshit. First it was Zach Wilson. Now it's this BYU basketball team. So I'm done with the Mormons. I'm out on Mormons.
It's been done for them.
I don't know if I can.
What's your opinion on Brigham Young as a person?
I'm out on Mormons. That's all I can say. Sorry to any Mormon out there, but I'm out. No more picking BYU. No more liking your quarterbacks.
Cole has alienated our entire Mormon audience with this take, and I want to apologize to.
Wait, I think I can say that.
A large group of our viewership is actually Mormon. I don't know if you know that, Cole.
You know who I have been liking though is that kid on Duke, that TikTok kid. It's been
Jared
all
McCain?
over my TikTok, bro. It's all I've been seeing, and it's actually been entertaining.
You know who he reminds me of?
Who?
Loyal listener of the podcast, Joe. Because I see him doing little songs, I see him painting his nails, and you know he's kind of good at basketball.
Yeah.
He's a little good at basketball. So I mean, it's like a striking resemblance. Physically, not so much, right? They're kind of different, but there's some characteristics you pick up that you're like, oh wow.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily call Joe good at basketball.
That's one thing. But the other thing, like if you're playing basketball, especially in today's day and age, wearing nail polish or painting your nails, whatever, you got to play the way that this kid's playing because people are still bullying him. But at the end of the day, I mean, what can you say? They're still winning. He's going to make the NBA. I don't know if he'll be good in the NBA, but we'll see how it goes. That's a completely different story. But definitely silencing these people, especially if they were to lose early on, he would have been getting absolutely trashed by these people. So, good for him for still being in the tourney. And it's going to be an ugly day when he gets eliminated because he is going to hear it.
And respect to him though, because I feel like a lot of kids who did that would be bullied out of doing it, and he's just sticking to being himself pretty unapologetically. So, good for him. He had a big game last game. He had like 30 something. He was hitting everything. So good for him.
I have Duke in the final actually.
I picked JMU over them.
So I'm hoping that the Blue Devils put something together there, and they've won a lot, but I don't see anybody. And I was hoping for a Connecticut Bowl between Yale and UConn. That would have been great. Did not come together.
Would have been nice.
Is UConn going to lose a game this tournament? It doesn't seem likely at this point. Are they even going to win? Are they going to win a game by less than 10 points?
They're losing to Purdue.
Every single game they play, it's not even close.
They're sadly losing to
Purdue. Not even close.
It's looking
at Purdue.
No,
I hate to admit it. I mean, the numbers said it. 17 straight years, the numbers have been able to predict the winner. And you know what I'm not going to do? Go against the numbers. I'm sorry. Connecticut is who I'm rooting for, but Purdue is going to win. The prophecy is spoken.
I am anti-numbers.
Men lie, women lie, stats don't.
Numbers don't.
I got Purdue losing to Creighton.
I do too. Actually, I actually have Purdue losing to Gonzaga, but I have Creighton in the Final Four.
The prophecy is spoken, fellas.
Cole, what's your Final Four?
I got UConn, Carolina, Houston, and Creighton.
I'm the same. Except I got Duke.
Kind of chalk. I did go kind of chalk this year with like the later rounds, but I had some upsets early on. My upsets did not hit. did not hit.
I put $5 on Utah State and they lost by fucking 40 because they did this whole special before the game about the coach or whatever, and I was like, dude, they don't do this like documentary type shit, and then this team goes and loses by 40. They don't do that. That's not what this is. And then they lost by 40. Like it wasn't even close. It wasn't even close. My Aggies. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's been an all right tournament.
It's been solid so far. We're only past the first weekend, so I mean,
yeah. Which is the best weekend? I think.
It is. No, you're right.
Is the best weekend
first round.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
Absolutely right.
Just
because you get
so many games.
Yeah, you get that Oakland over Kentucky game, and it's like
you gotta love it.
That's the game of the tournament when they beat them.
Speaking of betting, I had a parlay and I had Houston in there. Everything else had hit, and they were up 13 with like a minute left. And then I don't know if you guys were watching the game, but
I saw
Texas A&M came back and said it overtime, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Because it was like 11:30 at night, and I was like, "Oh, all my other bets hit with no sweat, like easiest bets I've ever made." And then these guys are up 13, the number one seed, and with like a minute left. and they
blew it.
choked. Luckily, they came through in overtime. But
March Madness is on my blacklist for betting. Like, it's a no-no.
I don't like betting. I don't like betting on it, but I
Huge no for me.
And bro,
and then we have our friend Mike.
Dude, Mike is just sending me. Mike is sending me all of his parlays, and he's made like $2,000. Like he put like $100 on both teams to score in the first minute of the second half, and he hit. Who does that? He doesn't have that money to waste. Who does that? It's just so annoying, man. And it just like who bets on March Madness, and then he's hitting every game. Oh my god. I can't stand that.
I do a couple here and there, but I don't do like the 10-leg parlays of every team playing that day.
I only bet on like games I'm so like I would have bet on UConn to win their game and made like 30 cents.
Yeah, what are the odds? What were the odds of them beating Stetson Bennett in the first round? Minus 7,000 or something?
I don't know, but that's the type of bet I like to bet.
Sometimes you just got to see the shot go in. It doesn't matter from where it is. You just got to see the ball go in the net.
And dude, the problem with these damn games is these top seeds will just let the underdog hang in there until the very end. You got to pull them away.
I don't even know if it's the very. I tell my friends all the time, the first half is quite literally irrelevant when it comes to these games because these 16 seeds, these 15 seeds, they're in the game at halftime. Some of them they're in the game at halftime. It's like a 3-point game, maybe it's a 5-point game, and then the second half, like the Arizona game against Long Beach or Longwood, I think it was Long Beach. They just got their doors blown off in the second half, and Long Beach was right there with them the entire first half. So it's like, in recent years, you've seen a couple 61 upsets, but nothing close to it this year. 15s were pretty slow too. I mean, the Oakland game was by far, I think, the biggest upset.
What's the lowest seed left? It's NC State, right? 11 seed?
Yeah, it's 11. I'm riding with NC State because they got that big motherfucker, Burns.
Yeah.
Yeah,
oh my
Mark Henry
goodness.
on the team. They got Mark Henry out there.
Put him in the NFL, bro. Speaking of the NFL, we'll transition out of March Madness to a couple of rule changes in the National Football League. SMH, LT, what's your grievances with these rule changes?
When I see a 6'6", I'm not even going to say how much. What 250? How big are these tight ends nowadays?
Big, yeah.
Big boys, and you got a little free safety trying to catch up from behind on these guys. How does the NFL? I get it. You got the ankle tackles, whatever, dive for their legs, but I don't understand how the NFL can ban that, especially when these players have been playing for God knows how long. This is what the people know, right? Like, this is what I learned. This is what everyone who played football, they've made these tackles in their entire football careers. So to me, I feel like it's going to be very strange to see flags being thrown on tackles like this. Obviously, me and Cole were saying it might not be the case with every single time we see a tackle. They maybe won't call it, but the way that they said it, it really seems to me that they're just going to flag it every time we see a hip drop tackle from behind. Obviously, we'll see what happens. It's going to be really weird to see. And it reminds me of seeing in the beginning of the NBA season, that whole anti-flop technical foul thing that they were doing. Yeah. So I pray that it lasts like a game like it did in the NBA. So, because this rule is just absolutely disgusting to me.
JJ Watt just literally said when they were talking about the new rule, he said, let's flash forward to the belt around the referee's waist and to the penalty flag, because it's going to be thrown all the time. Exactly. And I understand they're trying to make it safer, and everyone should be all on board. We all remember last season where it seemed like every single star was getting season-ending injuries, and they're out for the year. No one likes injuries, but I mean, there's only so much you can possibly do in a full contact sport where you're literally tackling the other person, running as fast as you can with these humongous bodies. It is a dangerous sport by nature. I understand they're trying to make it better, but they're just making it harder and harder and harder on defensive players in a extremely, extremely tough position to begin with. The cornerback, the safety, it is one of the toughest positions on the field, and you're making it harder and harder to play the defense. And so every single year they make it harder for the defense, it seems like. And the offensive numbers jump up next year, and the people are like, oh, how would they possibly be getting this many yards and all these touchdowns? It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. And this is the reason why, because they're making it harder to play defense. It seems like consistently just making it tougher and tougher, just like they're doing for pitchers through the 90s to the 2010s. Every single year in the MLB, they made it tougher for the pitcher. They moved the mound back. They did all this different stuff to make it the offense, because offense sells more, and I understand that. But, I mean, you can't tackle a guy. I mean, you're falling on top of him and it's ankle. It can happen. I don't understand how they can pot. You can't tackle him high. You can't tackle him low. Can you tackle him middle? Can you tackle him at all? Oh, are we going to play two-hand touch? I don't know.
Yeah, it's turning the flag. That's what I'm thinking. I mean, we're going to get 71-72 final score games here decided on a pass interference, and it's going to be absolutely disgusting. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch it if it turns into that, so they better get their shit together.
I just have a hard time believing that this rule is going to make it out of preseason. I don't doubt that the rule is going to be there, but I have a feeling this is one of those rules that they're going to call like crazy in the preseason. And I bet you that they call it more in the preseason than they do combined in the regular season. I just can't. It doesn't make sense in my brain that they're actually going to enforce this shit. Like, it's so subjective that, like, what is a hit? I want one of you to tell me what a hip drop tackle is right now.
I looked up a video of somebody explaining it to me. I didn't know what it was. So
that's one thing, and it can basically just be defined as a low waist tackle with a little twist. It's basically a grab and twist, and that's what everyone learns growing up how to tackle, and that's why it's going to be so bizarre to see in real life.
Well, I think, protecting the quarterback, I get. Like, the defenders don't fucking run over the quarterback 2 seconds after they throw the ball. Yeah. All right, I get it. Don't hit the quarterback in the head. Don't land.
But you've seen how subjective that is. You've seen how subjective that is, because some of these pass interference calls are ridiculous. They're ridiculous. This is going to be a hellscape if they actually decide to enforce it.
Yeah,
the guys on the field. It's going to be. You're going to see this unbelievable play by a defender, and it's just going to be a first down because they tackled the guy how they're supposed to tackle him for the last 80 years. It's like, you land it on your ankle. I'm sorry. That's how I tackle. You're running away from me. That's called physics.
It's awful.
And another thing is, like, I want everyone to pay attention this year to how often defenders are going to dive at players' knees, and players' knees are going to get blown out because they're afraid to go in and fucking tackle them. And then there's going to be injuries that way, and then it's going to be, oh, well, now you can't dive at a player's knees, and now you can't. It's like, at what point this is a violent contact sport? A violent contact sport. You can't take the physicality out of it. You know how you prevent yourself from getting CTE? Don't play football.
Don't play football.
Yeah,
you have to know what you're signing up for, injured.
I get, and it's not the players making these rules. Like, the players aren't saying, like, the players are well aware.
It's the team owners, right?
Yes, it's the owners, because they want their big offensive investments to not get fucking hurt. And which, like, I get it.
Understandable.
I get it. I do get it.
You're in the wrong sport, though.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You're in the wrong sport.
Be a golf coach. I don't know. You can buy another sport with your billions of dollars. You're messing with the sport that the people, the real fans who have played the game, so they know what it's like. They know what tackling is, And, like, here's the thing. Like, it sounds crazy, but, like, I don't know. I can talk about this for so long. It's just, I already said it. We're going to be getting such high-scoring games, and it's just going to be no defense. And whenever the defense makes a great play, like Pat said, it's going to be 15 yards. So it's going to be a tough watch if they don't change the rule.
I just, I don't know how drastic it's going to really be. Offense was actually down this year, so we'll see. But like I said,
offense right back up.
I just don't believe that this is actually going to be a thing. I just don't.
I hope not, dude. I freaking hope
hopefully they'll vet it. Hopefully they'll just vet it in the in the preseason, and
I think
this is fucking stupid.
And I want to sit here and say like they're only going to call it it's egregious, but I couldn't even tell you what egregious is because I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is.
Whenever you see
This is subjective. You have to make an objective rule in the book, dude. You have to like.
This is the problem with the NFL reffing. So it's hard to be a ref. It's hard. They have so many rules that are up for interpretation, and they get no help. They're not allowed to review pass interference. It's bullshit. There has to be help. These rules can't. These rules can't all be up to the fucking ref. Like their job is hard enough. Let's give them some actual rules to enforce. And that's why I just think I don't know, man. I really think this is gonna.
I'm so mad I can't even get a thought out. It's like this is gonna ruin the game.
If it's truly enforced, they're gonna call it all the time. But I truly think that this is something they're gonna use in the preseason to scare players out of potentially doing it. I guess I don't
know. Like, what's the regular tackle?
That's why I'm struggling with the conversation because I don't even know what we're talking about. I don't know what we're talking about.
Jesus, please save us.
Well, how about hold on. The one other thing that pisses me off about this conversation is like the people on social media saying, "Oh, well, just tackle like rugby players." Here's the problem with that. In rugby, yards don't exist. They don't have to protect the sticks and pull a player back to prevent him from going an extra 3 feet. In football, every yard matters. You can't have like a tackling technique where you're trying not to hurt somebody and to give them the first down. You know, it'd be very easy to say that if first downs weren't a fucking thing, but they are. You can't just let a guy get a first down.
What's an example of a rugby tackle? I literally never.
They just rugby. Tackle. They just tackle in a way where it's like.
They don't grab the hip. They kind of like jump on you.
Yeah, it's like they grab the feet and roll them to the ground, kind of. But if you do that in the NFL, if you do that in the NFL, they're gonna fucking lunge forward and get an extra 3 yards or 2 yards. It's gonna
be so hard for the defense. Yeah, that's another story. It's oh my god.
In rugby, if you get tackled like that, there's nothing. It's not like there's no yards. It doesn't matter.
How about the other rule change? I'm a little more receptive to it because I think the NFL kickoff has been a joke for a couple of years now, where I think in its current state, it's just pointless because you're getting touchback after touchback after touchback, and you're basically just wasting like a minute. Like you're just wasting everyone's time by kicking the ball off. Now, I've seen a couple of videos of the new kickoff, which is like it's modeled after the XFL. And listen, I like it. If it's going to get people to run it back, get more action on those special team plays, then I'm all for it. I really don't have any, I think that's an improvement to what it is now.
Exactly.
Special teams, special plays, special players.
You knew that one was coming out today. You knew that one was coming out.
I want to point out, Cole, thank you so much. You're a genius because we did want to plug that we're going to be covering the upcoming Rugby World Cup. And we didn't know how to break, we didn't know how to introduce it. We didn't talk
that
about
shit actually gets views. You know that?
Yeah,
it's insane,
bro.
Dude, like it looks entertaining. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
I don't think I get bored.
I don't know how it works. I don't know how it works, but
if I get bored watching, I think I'd watch it. But I like this. I like this rule. Actually, I do. I think it makes special teams more important. It gives guys like a bigger role. And something that was interesting that was brought up on Twitter today that I saw was kind of the idea that special teams coordinators can now kind of almost design plays for the kickoff. Like in regular run plays that you run on offense, like you have zone blocking, gap blocking, stuff like that. So there's this idea that they could have a pulling tight end on a kickoff and run like designed kickoff returns like that instead of just kind of a big free for all. I know there's a structure to it, but kind of more like you could run inside zone on on a kickoff, which is just cool to think about, and it also gives like the fourth tight end on the roster a role, like a serious role, like he has to block on special teams, and it could be fun. And I also wonder if this makes it worth it for guys like, say, the Dolphins. Like, do they throw Tyreek Hill back there, or the Niners?
Now you're thinking
the Niners. Do they throw Christian McCaffrey or Deebo Samuel back there now? Like, could you imagine if they had just a two-headed monster and Debo and McCaffrey returning kickoffs, and they design an inside zone or gap power run like around that? Like, that could be really fucking cool.
It's an extra 7 points too.
Yeah,
It makes special teams kind of like something to watch now.
yes.
The kickoff is when you would go take a piss or get another drink from the fridge. Now you want to watch it and see. It's exactly what Cole said. Special teams coaches that get to design plays. I think that's a very cool concept and an exciting concept for someone the kickoff and the kickoff return have been a non-event for years now. It's nothing. Like, it's since Devin Hester. It's been like nothing. So,
the only thing that is kind of a downside to it, but I can get over it. Really, I'm not going to care that for that long. Is there's no like surprise onside kick anymore. You have to declare it and then line it up like that, and that's the thing. There's no surprise onside kick, which is like how often is really
anyway, man.
It happens like twice a year, so it's like it's inconsequential, really. Everyone kind of knows when you're going to do an onside kick anyway. A surprise one only happens every once in a while and doesn't really work that often anyway.
If I had to bet during a kickoff, I would not bet that there would be a surprise onside kick.
Yeah, right. Like it would happen maybe twice a year, and that's.
And who's doing a lot of betting, Cole?
Who's doing a lot of betting? Shohei
Ohtani's translator.
His translator, not him.
This is translator. So it broke during the Seoul series in Korea that Shohei Ohtani, his name is Ippei Mizuhara, I think, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, was accused of stealing money from Ohtani, a sum of $4.5 million. And it was later revealed that he racked that up gambling. But then he said that was a lie and that Shohei had actually paid off his gambling debts as an act of kindness to his trainer, who's with him everywhere. By the way, this guy is basically with him wherever he goes.
Yeah.
So now people are like calling into suspect whether Ohtani is possibly involved in some kind of gambling. They got busted for using an illegal bookie, which is gambling is illegal in California. They were using an illegal bookie on Ohtani's account. They wired the bookie $4.5 million, which in my opinion, I don't think a bookie would let some random guy like Ippei rack up $4.5 million of debt if they didn't know that someone like Ohtani was backing him in some sort of way financially. So to me, the fact that Shohei is a completely innocent, victimless victim of this crime that he's proposing that Ippei stole from him is ridiculous. There is zero chance Shohei didn't know that this guy was a gambling addict or whatever it is. So him saying, I have no idea this was coming, in this press conference today, he didn't answer any questions from the media. He just came out and read a statement that was translated by another translator who knows that guy's a gambling addict. And he was saying, I didn't know any of this. He lied to me this whole time. What do you guys make of the situation? Obviously, I don't know if we'll ever learn the truth, but there is investigations going on. Ohtani never seemed like this kind of guy. LT.
I like what Pete Rose said about it. I don't know if it was like yesterday, but it was one of these days I saw it. When he said he wished he had an interpreter, which is like absolutely true because he got banned from the Hall of Fame, basically. He got blacklisted. I don't think the same thing is going to happen to Ohtani. I don't know why I'm saying that because he basically we don't know what he bet on per se, but I'm going to make the assumption and say he was doing at least something similar to Pete Rose. So I don't think he's going to get similar precautions, but why? I don't know because I feel like the MLB kind of treat Ohtani like their golden boy a little bit. That's just what I think. But we'll see what the MLB does. I think it's pretty serious against Ohtani, obviously. So
you bet on Cheeto Vera winning.
He took Cheeto, lost a lot of money before he put like 3 out of that 4.5 million, probably.
Yeah.
Ban him for life and send him back to Japan. That's what
we don't know if he bet though.
Ban him for life, send him back to Japan.
Here's my thing though. Even if he's guilty here, I don't think the MLB is gonna give him a serious punishment.
No, let's be consistent. We've Pete
Rose
gone for life.
I wish, yeah, they should.
Jackson,
Pete Rose was first of all, Pete
betting
Rose
on
was
his own
betting on
team.
games he was in. He was betting on himself
His
to
own
win, but he was
team,
still betting
though.
on games he was in. We have no
His
idea if
own
Ohtani
team.
was doing that.
I don't
We have
care.
no idea if Ohtani was doing that.
don't
That's
care
what I
if-
said. We don't
I don't-
know
This
to
is
the extent.
speculation. This is
We don't know to
conspiracy
the
theories.
extent of the gambling, but if he was
We
betting
don't
on
even know if he
any
gambled.
MLB
We don't
game,
even know if he personally gambled.
I don't
if
care if
he
Ohtani
did,
was betting on
come
table
on, he
tennis.
definitely took that money out. That it's him. It's not his interpreter.
I don't care if he was. I don't care if
Are
he
you
was.
sure? I mean, I think he knew of
I'm
what was
sure.
going on. I don't know if you can definitively say
I'm
that this
sure.
guy was betting all this money,
I'm
and then
come
he
on.
what he would get is a fraud. It was a wire fraud because you can't wire an illegal bookie. But we don't
See,
know
that's
if he was
the
betting
problem,
on these games.
He's gonna get more in
I know.
trouble legally than with the MLB. I think.
I know.
Well, no, because I think this Ipe guy is. First of all, I think he's just gonna fly back to Canada or fly back to Japan and never come back. So I don't know if he'll ever face punishment.
That's definite.
There's no way that
What
anything
about
happens to
Ohtani, though?
Ohtani because the MLB
His
is
face is
saving
MLB
this
right
guy.
now.
He's there. He is their
Yeah,
golden
golden boy.
ticket right now to save their sport, to make it marketable again, to make young people watch it, to make international viewers watch it. So even if this guy was betting on himself to strike out 4 times a game, I don't think anything would happen to him.
One
We
could
don't know if
argue-
that's we don't know if that's the truth.
One
It
could
should.
argue that Jackson Olsen and the Savannah Bananas are really what's saving baseball.
You know
One could
what?
argue.
That
One
low
could argue.
key
When is he going to get us some tickets to that shit? By the way,
I'll give him a call.
official sponsor of Keepin' It PC, the Savannah Bananas. Shout out to them.
Well, maybe one day. Wait, but
but yeah,
I-
this-
first of all, I know Ohtani was betting. I know.
It's him,
how do
obviously.
you
I
know?
it was.
How do you
Because
know?
My
You saw him at March
know.
Madness, bro. He was definitely
knows?
sweating a parlay
He
there.
was
He was
at the Den, bro.
He was definitely
bullshit
sweating
at
a parlay
MGM?
there.
My bullshit rater is off the charts, and let me tell you, this whole thing screams bullshit. Ipe is the fall guy, and Ohtani.
Yeah,
Yes, I think
Ohtani.
I think
was
it's
betting
entirely
all
possible.
that money. All that money. I don't give a damn if he was betting on table tennis. Lifetime ban and send him back to Japan. He signed with the Dodgers.
if he was.
Hey, send his ass to the brig.
That's what he gets for not signing with the Mets. It would have been legal here, and nobody would have
Yeah, it would have been.
nobody would have been.
I don't think you get a lifetime ban if he bet on other sports. I think it's betting on. Isn't it betting on baseball? You get a
Yeah,
lifetime
it's like
ban.
an insider
Put
bet.
him on the no-fly list and send him back to Japan. Not allowed in the country.
Dude, imagine the world where Ohtani, it's revealed that Ohtani was betting on Angel games while he was an Angel. And he gets banned for baseball for life after just signing a $700 million contract and never plays
Dude,
another
hey.
game.
He'll sleep well at night. That's fully guaranteed.
No,
Yeah,
they would
he's
void that
shit.
contract. They'd
No.
void the contract.
Fully
Yes, they would.
guaranteed. You can't void it.
No,
How are you
it's
going to
not.
void it?
No, they would void it.
How?
They would void it.
Sign a contract. It's
They
fully
would. They
guaranteed.
would. There is zero chance the Dodgers would eat that money. There's no
They're eating.
way.
They're eating it. If
They would void the contract.
if the Broncos are willing to pay Russell Wilson not to pay for him, what do you think they're going to do for Ohtani?
That's a different sport, bro. That's a different sport. And is Russell Wilson betting on the Steelers? No.
He's
betting on the
Ohtani's
Broncos?
definitely getting some of that money. Come on.
Mr. Unlimited.
Mr.
Unlimited.
Mr. Unlimited.
Let's steal.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about. Let's finish the episode off because baseball is coming up. It starts this week. Opening day is on Thursday.
Oh.
We'll touch a little bit. Let's touch a little bit on the Mets and the Red Sox. That is our going to be our main focus throughout most of the season.
Bummer.
We'll start with the Mets because they come out. They have they fire their GM last year. They come out with this plan. 2024 is not really going to be the year we push. 2025 is the one we're focused on. That's the one we're really going to compete at. Not for per se throwing away this year. They're still going to compete. If you look at their lineup, especially after they've signed JD Martinez, I think it's a very solid lineup top to bottom. It's a major league. That is a lineup that you could compete with. Now, LT, the pitching concerns me because I don't think they have little to no pitching depth. I don't think they didn't really spend pitching. Jordan Montgomery just signed with the Diamondbacks right before we started recording this. I mean, you could have picked him up if you wanted to try to make the playoffs. But, I'll say the same thing with the Red Sox. The MLB is almost turning into the NHL and the fact that it doesn't really matter where you are in the playoffs as long as you're in there. We just saw last year a Diamondback team with 84 wins. 84 wins. Go to the World Series. You think the Mets couldn't get in with like an 83 win 80 team?
I hate to admit this, but as long as the Mets have Francisco Lindor on their team, I really don't think they can ever win the big one.
Not Frankie.
Wow.
I love Frankie.
And it really
What's
breaks my
Frankie
heart
doing?
to say this because I came to this realization maybe a few weeks ago. Just seeing him in spring training, he looks lost out there fielding. I don't know his batting stats off the top of my head, but seeing him field out there, he looked abysmal. When we brought him here, we signed him to a 10-year deal, I believe. And at the time, he was one of the highest paid in his position, maybe the highest at the time. And he's done absolutely nothing to show that he's worth that money. And to me, as a Mets fan, I have no reason to be a fan of this guy, I think. He hasn't done anything for us except for that 101-year season that he did mediocre at best, and they lose in the first round. And also that year, he's getting in the fights with Jeff McNeil. He's getting in the fights with the managers. Why is this player supposed to be the face of this team, and we don't pay Pete Alonso, and we're going to just keep Francisco Lindor over Pete Alonso, the best Mets hitter we've had since Mike Piazza? I mean, it makes my head absolutely spin.
Daniel Murphy.
The Mets are not going to be a good team this year, I don't think.
New and nice.
Mets are not going to be a good team. I gave them about 73 wins this year. The pitching is abysmal.
I think you're underrating them a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not, because the culture isn't there right now based on who's playing there. We saw it last year. The worst collapse I've ever seen. Worst collapse I've ever seen as a Mets fan. We go from 101 wins. Obviously, the Edwin Diaz injury happened, but we have him back. But then when we get Diaz back, Cody Senga's out for God knows how long.
Yeah.
So the team is truly cursed. And I think with the team we have now, specifically Francisco Lindor, we'll never win.
I don't understand what this hate for Lindor.
He's getting paid
He
the
hit
most
30
money.
He hit 30 home runs
by a
last year. He
mile,
finished top.
and he's putting up mediocre numbers.
I think last year he hit like 30 home runs. He finished top 10 in MVP voting. He's a very solid player.
Pat. He was borderline MVP on the Indians, and then we trade him to the Mets, and he can't even hit over 30 home runs. We're paying him $200 million.
I'm looking at his page right now. He had 31 home runs last year.
That money, you're not going to just be mediocre with that money.
First of all, that contract in a couple of years is not going to do it. It's not going to be anything. That contract in a couple of years is really not going to be anything. These guys are getting paid out of their asses. And money means nothing. Money means absolutely nothing to Steve Cohen. Why are you worried about the money?
10 years. I'm not talking about the money. We have him starting for 10 years, dude.
If they really want to get rid of him, they can find. If they really want to get rid of him, they can find somebody to trade him. Steve Cohen will eat the money. He doesn't give a fuck. He's not a. You talk about him like he's a scrub.
He was way better on the Indians. He had no year that on the Mets that come.
Yes, he was. He was better on the Indians. He was. He's still a good player. He's still a good player on the Mets.
He used to be, and you just see his numbers, and you're saying that. If you watch him play, he's not that player anymore, and we're suckers for still keeping him around.
I don't know if I agree with that.
We're not paying
I don't agree with that.
We're paying this guy, and you don't think you don't.
How do you know you're paying Pete Alonso? You didn't pay Pete Alonso this year. He's a free agent next year. You think if they really don't want him, Cohen's not going to get outbid. It's not about paying him. It's about what if they want to keep him around for that many years.
Why haven't we paid him yet? It seems to me that we're going to let him walk.
I don't know. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he wants to test free agency. Maybe they offered him the money and he wants to see what he can get. And every day Cohen's still offering the most.
All I'm saying, Lindor over the past 2 years, he's pretty much averaging 30 homers, 25 stolen bases, 120 WRC plus.
He ain't doing what was advertised. He's doing below advertised right now.
I mean, well, you got to think.
No matter what you say,
drag the World Series, LT. I think you're putting a little too much emphasis on this one player, man.
His best year.
Look at what. Who was on that Indians team? Who was on that team other than Lindor and Ramirez?
I mean, they had a good score. Corey Kluber.
Their pitching staff was incredible, LT. What are you talking about? They didn't go to the World Series and were playoff. Well, first of all, the division sucked ass, so we're in the playoffs every year anyway. And they didn't go to the World Series because of Lindor and Ramirez. They went to the World Series because of Kluber and Clevenger and these guys that were actually good.
Lindor and Ramirez had the same postseasons that year.
They did.
Nothing.
But Lindor's not the reason you're not going to do anything this year. It's because it sucks.
If he showed up and played like how he did in Cleveland, we'd be playoff contenders.
Hold on. His best. His
Severino. What are you talking about?
Can I be the middleman here?
What could you possibly be laughing at?
Can I be the voice of reason?
Lindor's not the reason you're not a contender. It's because your pitching staff's a joke.
What was the excuse 2 years ago when we had DeGrom and Scherzer in 101 wins and we got eliminated in the first round?
I mean,
what did Scherzer do in the playoffs? He got lit up by the Padres.
Pat, he was good that year. Stop being dumb.
I'm in a 3-game series. He's the reason you lost that series. Not Scherzer getting up 7 home runs to the Padres. Lindor's the reason you lost the series.
Why is it MLB that always gets us go crazy?
What are you talking about?
You need an offense.
I don't understand what you're saying.
You know how good DeGrom and Scherzer were that season?
But you're talking about the playoffs. What did Scherzer do in the playoffs? He got lit up. Well, DeGrom got lit up in the playoffs.
Yeah, and we scored 2 runs in 3 games, right?
Yeah, it's all Lindor's fault.
Yeah, I mean,
he has to. If the rest of the team doesn't hit, if he doesn't hit, the rest of the team doesn't hit.
All right, this is a Red Sox fan talking. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
All right.
What does the Red Sox got to do with this?
Hey,
you like Cole talk. All right, guys, stop. Let Cole talk.
Let me be the voice of reason for a second.
Let Cole talk.
LT is not completely wrong. His best year was in Cleveland, but
what did I say?
Let him finish. Pat, stop. Let him finish.
He's getting mad over nothing. It's
Let
crazy.
him finish.
He's getting mad over nothing.
Stop.
But 2 of Lindor's top 4 seasons in terms of WAR have been in New York, and they have been the last 2 years.
You're looking at WAR, not what's going on the field.
Let me say something.
All right, stop. We gotta stop.
This is as simple as it is. As good as Francisco Lindor is, when it's crunch time and he's at the plate, or when there's a big play, he is not making the play. He's not making that home run. He's not getting the base hit like Pete Alonso is. He's not on that level anymore. He was on that level. He's not the same player he was.
But that's not the reason that you're not competing, LT. That's not the reason you're not competing.
That's the only reason, Pat.
So, but why are you focusing on him? So, fine, you can say Lindor's not what he.
I mean, we paid him. He's getting half. He's getting half the team payroll. I mean, obviously, I'm going to talk about him being a big disappointment to why we're not winning. Obviously,
I don't. What are Mets fans talking about the payroll for? The payroll doesn't matter. Payroll's a figment of your imagination.
Why didn't we spend money on free agents this year then, Pat? If payroll doesn't mean anything.
They said they weren't going to go all in because, you know why you didn't spend money on the free agents? Because this free agent class sucked ass. This free agent class was ass.
Who are they getting next year?
Juan Soto next year.
He's saying he's not leaving. Stop it. He's not leaving.
He's not leaving. If Cohen gives him $70 million more than the Yankees, why would he? What does he owe the Yankees?
You have more hope than Mets fans.
Dude, why didn't Steve Cohen spend shit this offseason? Because he's gonna spend so much fucking. He's gonna spend so much money next season.
All I'm saying is
so much money.
All I'm saying is that the Mets have been doing this for how long now, and it has never worked. So I am not getting my hopes up.
All I'm saying, last year,
fair enough.
Pete Alonso had a .217 average. And a 2.8.
Well, look at those home runs and RBIs.
No, don't look at his average, Cole. Come on.
I'm just saying.
Look at everything else. He's a much better player than Lindor.
I'm just saying.
Alonso's a franchise first baseman. I think they will end up signing him. I think Alonso wants to test free agency. Red Sox suck, and we're mid as fuck. So, Cole, you have anything to say?
The Red Sox they're just
Crawford is the 3 starter, I think, which is an encouraging sign.
the
What the
biggest
season's going to be.
The biggest news of the offseason for the Red Sox is that Tristan Casas changed his number from 36 to 54. That's our biggest news. That
Casas.
just tells it all. I mean,
I like Devers. There are definitely players on this team you like. And hear me out. If every single pitcher in our rotation has a career, so I think
you know what?
I think it's dude.
You know
I
what?
think we're in good shape.
I don't even like Devers that much, if I'm being honest. I don't.
Okay.
I don't. Like what
Are you?
He's a good hitter. He's a terrible defender.
Let's move on.
And we paid him what Mookie Betts got.
We don't want to start another argument with Pat. And
No,
MLB.
I do. I do.
I actually just can't comprehend how you people think about this. I just can't comprehend what I'm listening to right now. And I'm going to blow a gasket if we don't move on. So
move on.
Let's Drake wrap it up, please, because I can't.
Let's talk about.
We could have Mookie right now as the Red Sox.
Let's wrap it up.
Please,
Okay.
Give me him back. I don't want Devers.
Cole, have you watched the Red Sox in 2018?
There you go. You did it. There you go. You did it.
You haven't even watched
You did it.
play because all you're talking about is Mookie Betts.
You did it, Cole.
Mookie Betts is good. We have Devers, who's a good player, a great player even. So I don't want to hear any more about Mookie Betts because I don't care. He's gone. Stop talking about him.
Here's the numbers I care about.
Stop talking about him.
Let's move on.
3.1 WAR last year.
We're not moving on.
Happy with that. I'm not moving on. I'm upset. Man. I can't stand the Red Sox, dude. I can't. I don't even want to.
You got to show your grievance for your team, bro.
Yes, I feel the exact same way about Devers that LT does about Lindor. Fuck him. Fuck him.
Fuck him. I take that back. I don't mean fucking Lindor. I still like Lindor, but he needs to get his shit together immediately.
I like Devers.
They're just hating on you, Pat.
I do like Devers. I do, but there's nothing to get excited about this team.
No,
I can't even be excited about Devers. I can't. There's nothing.
There's not a lot to be excited about.
I want Devers to be a silver lining, but he's not. He's not.
I get up for Devers and Casas, and there's really nothing else that it's just they're gonna just be mid, and it's because there's no investment, there's no care in the team. Alex Cora said, and I quote, if there was a trophy, if there was a championship for vibes, we'd win it. What does that tell you about the team right now?
Although
he actually said that to a group of reporters, like all serious.
You know
what? Embarrassing.
You know what though? What really matters more than aura in sports? What really think about it. If
winning games.
No. You're wrong. Let's just think about this.
You're wrong.
If
winning games don't matter.
No.
So if the Red Sox go 80-82, but they're just fucking in the dugout smoking cigs and drinking seed lamps, then we're fine.
You're making them sound better. You're making them sound like I want to support them.
But listen. If Reed Shepard had any aura for Kentucky, they win that game. He had zero. He has
negative aura. He has negative aura.
That took points off the board.
No, listen,
I actually does come back to winning games. But you know why the Giants stunk? Because our quarterback was Daniel Jones. Does it get less aura than that? Mac Jones? Does it get less aura than that? Does Mac Jones even have a driver in his golf bag? Or does he only use the pitching wedge? I mean, come on. The aura matters. Who are you?
What?
If Josh Allen never wins the Super Bowl, he's got aura. He's got aura. Patrick Mahomes. You know why Mahomes has 3 Super Bowls?
He has aura.
He has aura. Aaron Rodgers don't got aura like that. That's why
not anymore. Not anymore.
First of all, I'm on your side with the aura thing. I think aura is important. I took aura into my bracket this year.
Yes,
for March Madness.
I always
huge aura, but at the end of the day, man, aura only takes you so far. I'm sorry, it only takes you so far.
Aura can get you pretty far, man.
All right, let's wrap it up because it's going to carry along. Thank you so much for listening. to this episode. We'll be back next week. Talk about a little about the baseball, more about March Madness, as the Sweet 16 is this weekend. I believe the Elite Eight is it right after that, and then they take a little break for the Final Four, right?
Yeah.
March Madness. Something will probably happen in the NFL because it's always in the news, and of course, we will be previewing very soon some NBA playoff action for the New York Knicks.
Hey, shout out DiVincenzo, 40 points. 40 points.
Shout out Josh Hart, baby. I love that guy. I love that guy.
Josh Hart. Well, I think we should have an entire episode about the Knicks going.
If you guys want to hop on the podcast,
when we get there. What?
I was asking DiVincenzo if you wanted to come on to the podcast.
DiVincenzo, Deuce McBride, and Josh Hart. I know you guys have your own podcast, maybe a little collab.
McBride, join. I want McBride to join on the podcast so Pat can apologize to him in his face.
I would make.
Mitchell Robinson.
I would.
If you know. Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah.
Mr. Robinson, we have some things to discuss outside of basketball. If you want to hop on, then be my guest.
Only we know what that means.
Go check out the YouTube. Keep it a PC. This will be up.
That's crazy.
With the audio version on Spotify. Thank you so much for listening and watching. And peace.
Otani has so little aura that he had to bet on baseball and it's going to get banned for life.
That was a really